Welcome back to Sunday Pips, reviewing pairs for this week. If you want to know what pairs I'm going to pick on Sunday, like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell. GBP NZD on the weekly time frame, we have created this beautiful pin bar rejecting off of around psychological level 900. We go down to the 4-hour. Price was somewhere around here on Sunday. I was waiting for a shift of structure on the lower time frames to then look for sales. We go down to the 1 hour to see if the shift of structure ever happened. 1 hour don't look that clean. Let's go down to the 30-minute. 30-minute we were bearish, then we shifted bullish to create the pullback on the 4-hour into this area of interest. And since we were now at my area of interest, I wait for the shift of structure. Got a clean shift of structure right here on the 30-minute. I think we even got a bearish engulfing candle right here on the 1 hour. My entry, the only problem was that everything in this circle happened outside of New York and London session. And like I have told you in many of my videos, I don't enter trades outside of New York and London. London session opened when price was somewhere up here, and then we created this pullback closing under this area of interest. Then I noticed that whenever price is above this zone, it struggles to break under. And this small zone is actually very respected on the 4-hour. Whenever price is under, we sell, we sell, we sell, we sell. And whenever we're above, we buy, we buy, we buy, we buy. I went from looking for a shift of structure at this zone to then entering sales to waiting for price to close under this small zone first and then retest and then look for the sales. I think we even got another shift of structure somewhere around here, if I'm not wrong. On the 1 hour, yep, 1 hour went up and then we shifted bearish, closed above the previous structure point, and then got this clean bearish engulfing candle, my entry. But since I was no longer waiting for the shift of structure at the zone and waiting for this instead, I avoided this loss to perfection. Next pair that was on my list was GBP AUD. On the weekly time frame, we have created this clean doji rejecting off of around psychological level 800. I strongly believe that the next candle was gonna close like this, but obviously I was wrong. And if you haven't noticed, this pattern happens a lot in the market. We get a candle like this, next candle that follows a doji or a pin bar, and then the next candle does something like this. Or maybe the doji or a pin bar happens up here and then the next candle closes under like this. This is what I thought was going to happen right here, but I was wrong. I can even show you an example of this pattern happening on the chart. Okay, right here, red candle doji went up, red candle doji went up, and right here too, red candle doji went up. That's what I thought was going to happen right here, but didn't work out. And on the daily time frame, we have created this, whatever this is called, just red candle, confirming that we are rejecting this zone and also rejecting around psychological level 800. On the 4-hour, price was somewhere around here. I was waiting for price to close under this zone first and then give me a shift of structure under this zone to then look for sales. Why was I waiting for the shift of structure under this zone? Because whenever price is under this small zone, we sell, we sell, we sell, we sell, and whenever we're above it, we buy, 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 buy. I didn't want the shift of structure to happen above this zone and then entering the sales, because there was a chance that price could have went up just like it had done in the past. And 4-hour closed under, had the pullback, but the pullback never stopped. We just continued pushing up until we broke above this zone. And I had also anticipated for this to happen because on the daily time frame we had created this strong reversal pattern, a double bottom. I anticipated for price to close above this zone, pullback. The pullback happened, but it happened as a wick. We pulled back right here and then price went up. I was not really interested in buys because the last time we were in between these two zones, price did a whole lot of nonsense and then it broke under. I thought the same thing was gonna happen right here. That's why I was not interested. I guess it can still happen because the next candle might open, the next weekly candle might open, and then price might just stay here for the next who knows how long. I even had an alarm right here to let me know the 4-hour had created the pullback into this zone. When I placed this alarm, I was interested in buys, but when it was triggered, I was no longer interested. I don't even remember why, but the buys did end up happening. If we go down to the lower time frames to see if the shift of structure ever happened, we can see it on the 1 hour. 1 hour was bullish, went up, and then we shifted bearish to create a pullback into the zone. And since we were at the zone, we look for the shift of structure. This was the lower high, and this down here was the lower low. We closed above the zone. We closed above the line, shifting bullish on the 1 hour. And what do we do now? We look for the bullish engulfing. No bullish engulfing candle, no entering buys, and no bearish engulfing candle, no entering sells. Where do we look for the engulfing or bearish engulfing candle? We look for it on the 1 hour, 2 hour, or 1 hour. You can look for it on the 30-minute or 15-minute, but I don't, because the higher the time frame the engulfing candle happens on, the stronger the confirmation. In this case, I think it happened on the 2 hour. Yep, perfect engulfing candle right here on the 2 hour. And what a coincidence is the pattern I was talking about. Red candle, doji, and next candle pushes up. I could have entered right here. I don't even remember why I was no longer interested in buys. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't remember. Could have entered right here and had caught a easy maybe 1 to 2. Obviously, take profit was going to be placed at this second zone because price just tends to, go back and forth in between these two zones. Trading is really easy. Just shift, pull back, shift the structure on the lower time frames. You enter your trade, and then you just set and forget. Price either hits your take profit or hits your stop loss. In both cases, you just move on to the next setup, and in the long run, you will come out profitable if you got a profitable strategy. Is it just me or water tastes good at 3 a.m.? I don't even know why. CAD, JPY, we have created a doji rejecting off of around psychological level 200. I anticipated for the next candle to fill the wick. What do I mean by fill the wick? I said this for multiple pairs on Sunday. I think I said it for GBP, AUD, CAD, JPY, and I think one more pair, CAD, Euro CAD. Yeah, I think I said it for this week too. It just means that the next candle that follows after the wick is about the same, that follows after the candle that creates the wick is about the same size as the wick or even larger. I think there was a pair that actually did that. I don't remember what pair it was. NZD, nah, AUD, yeah, AUD, USD. This is what I wanted to happen on the pairs that I got on my list. We create a doji with a long wick to the upside. Next candle, boom, about the same size as the wick. Why didn't I have this pair on my list? Because on the daily time frame, it just looked trash. Looks like we're consolidating at the same time. We're not. Looks like price was squeezing into this triangle-ish shape. I have no idea. And by the way, on Sunday, I made a video analyzing all these pairs, picking these pairs. I gave my analysis on all these pairs and then picked these pairs on my watch list. Go check it out. I'm gonna leave that link in the description. I think it might help you with picking your own pairs for that week. Who knows? Okay, let's just go back to analyzing pair. CAD, JPY. On the daily time frame, I was waiting for price to create a candle like this. If price did that on the 4 hour, we would have shifted bullish, closing not bullish, nah, because this is the lower low, and this up here the lower high. So technically we wouldn't have shifted bullish, but either way, this is what I wanted to happen for 4 hour to close above this zone, because whenever we are under it on the 1 hour, price just tends to go down. Whenever we're under, we sell, we sell, we sell, we sell. which is why I wanted for price to break above it first, and then I was just gonna wait for a pullback like this and maybe retesting the EMA, and then I look for my buys. But that candle closing above the small area of interest on the daily time frame never happened. What happened instead? We just created this huge red candle to the downside on the 4 hour, and price just kept pushing down. I don't think we even created the top wick on the weekly time frame. Let me see. Yep, we never created the top wick on the weekly time frame. This just shows you how strong the sellers were. Now I can almost guarantee, let me not say guaranteed, I believe that the next candle now will probably go up, create the wick for this candle, and maybe go back down or continue pushing up. Who knows? But I never took any buys or sells on this pair. Euro CAD weekly time frame, we had created this huge bearish engulfing candle. I anticipated for the next candle to continue the momentum to the downside, but we just created this huge candle to the upside, delivering this huge wick to the upside. On the 4 hour, on the daily, we have created this beautiful pin bar at this area of interest, showing you that we are rejecting or slowing down at this area of interest. On the 4 hour, I anticipated price was somewhere around here. I was waiting for a pullback into the zone, then a shift of structure on the lower time frame to then look for sales. Take profit was gonna be placed at this line because it was the first structure point on the daily time frame. And we go down to the 1 hour or 30 minutes to see if the shift of structure ever happened. When the 4 hour had the pullback, shift of structure never happened. 30-minute was bearish, then we shifted to bullish to create the pullback on the 4 hour. Let me just zoom in so y'all can see it clearly. This was the higher high, this down here was the higher low. Everything that happened in between these two lines was all market structure until we close above the line, above the previous higher high, creating a new higher high. This then becomes the new higher high, and this down here then becomes the new higher low. Again, everything that happened in here, market structure. Now once did we ever close under the higher low, shifting bearish. We just created another huge candle to the upside, closing above the previous higher high, creating a new higher high, and price just boom, rocketed to the upside. So there was no reasons to enter any sales on this pair. This was just an easy loss to avoid, and I avoided it, thankfully. Euro USD, same thing. I anticipated for price to bro, I got the memory of a goldfish. For price to fill the wick. Oh God. For price to fill the wick. Because whenever price is under the zone, we make it to this second area of interest. Whenever we're under, we make it to this second area of interest. It happened multiple times. Whenever we're under, we make it. Whenever we're under, we make it to the second area of interest. And now we were under. I anticipated for price to make it to this second area of interest. I think I even gave you an example where price closed above this zone and then had a pullback, closing under the zone, and then having a bearish candle, making it to this second area of interest. I don't remember where I found that example at. Whatever, go check out the video if you are actually curious about that example. And on the daily time frame, we have created these red and blue pin bars showing you that we are rejecting and slowing down at this area of interest, and we are also rejecting off of round psychological level 220,000. On the 4 hour, price was somewhere down here. Looks the same as the pair I just looked at. Yeah, Euro CAD. I guess it makes sense since they both start with Euro. I was waiting for price to pull back, shift of structure on the lower time frames to then look for sales. We go down to the lower time frames to see if the shift of structure ever happened. 30-minute. Okay, this time 30-minute was bearish throughout the whole thing. Not once did we ever shift. We never shifted bullish first before having the pullback. Unlike the other pairs, we just remained bearish until we made it to the area of interest. What does that mean? What do I wait for now? All I had to wait for now was just a bearish engulfing candle, and then I just take my trade. We go down to the, we go up to the 1 hour. Oh man, bro, it's crazy how many places I gotta be after I start recording a video. Might as well go to Africa and teach a zebra how to climb a tree. Wait, can zebras climb trees? Hold on, I gotta search that up. I don't know if y'all can see it, but ChatGPT just said, nah. How would it even climb? How would it grab the branches? With their teeth? Or maybe with their tails and swing like a... Bro, what am I talking about? What do zebras gotta do with trading? On the 1 hour, we created a huge bearish candle to the downside, but it happened outside of New York, and the London session opened when price was all the way up here at this blue candle. And then last pair wasn't really on my list. Had doubts about adding it, and looks like my doubts were confirmed. NZD JPY weekly time frame had created this pin bar with a long wick to the upside, anticipated for the next candle to fill the wick, but never happened. We just continue pushing down. On the daily time frame, same thing as that one pair. I don't remember which one, probably CAD JPY 2. I was waiting for the daily time frame to create a candle like this above this area of interest, because whenever price is under this small area of interest, we go back down. We sell, and when we are above it, price tends to go up. When we're above it, we go up, which is why I was waiting for price to close above the area of interest first, but we never did that. Price just remained under, and then we pushed to the downside. So that's the last pair on my list. Never took any trades this week. This is just one of those, this is just one of those weeks you can't really do anything about him. Let's just hope that next week is not the same as this week, and peace.